Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The NFL world woke up today to a thunderstorm of rumors shaking the entire NFC. Reports are swirling that star cornerback Riq Woolen, once seen as the future of the Seattle Seahawks secondary, is packing his bags and heading straight to Washington to join the Commanders. That's right, Woolen, the long-armed, lightning-fast corner who became a fan favorite in Seattle, might be switching coasts in what many are calling one of the biggest betrayals in recent memory. Seahawks fans are stunned. Commanders fans? They're already celebrating on social media as if they've just landed a Hall of Fame talent. The NFC landscape could shift overnight if this move becomes official. People are calling it the Legion of Boom Heartbreak, and honestly, it feels like that. Woolen was supposed to be the next great defensive pillar for the Hawks. Now, he's reportedly been lured by a hefty deal, a fresh start, and maybe a bit of frustration with how things were handled in Seattle. Rumor has it that tensions with coaches and locker room politics played a big role in this bombshell. If true, this move could reshape not only the Seahawks' future but the Commanders' identity as they push to become real contenders again. Inside sources close to the team claim the decision didn't happen overnight. Riq Woolen had been quietly unhappy with his role for months, especially after the Seahawks' inconsistent defensive schemes last season. He wanted to be that shutdown corner, the guy who takes away half the field, but Seattle's coaching staff reportedly limited his freedom, focusing more on zone coverage and rotation-based alignments that didn't suit his aggressive, man-to-man style. It's said that Woolen had multiple tense conversations with defensive coaches, even voicing frustration during film sessions. The Commanders, on the other hand, have been on the lookout for a game-changing defensive back, someone who can elevate their young secondary into one of the NFC's most dangerous units. When word reached Washington that Woolen might be open to a move, they didn't hesitate. They came knocking with promises of freedom, leadership, and a central role in their defensive rebuild. For a player like Riq, hungry, proud, and still just scratching the surface of his potential, it was music to his ears. The deal, if finalized, could send shockwaves through the entire conference. Seattle's front office, meanwhile, is trying to contain the narrative, but it's clear they've been caught off guard. No one expected Woolen to want out this soon. After all, this was a player drafted and developed by the Seahawks' own scouting system, molded under Pete Carroll's leadership, and viewed as part of the next generation of stars alongside players like Devin Witherspoon. But sources say the writing had been on the wall for weeks. Teammates noticed Woolen distancing himself during team activities, showing up to practice with a colder demeanor and less interaction with the group. Some interpreted it as focus, others suspected frustration. When the rumors began to leak that Washington had reached out, fans thought it was just off-season chatter. Now, with insiders confirming that the Commanders' front office made an official offer, it feels like the end of an era. The Seahawks faithful are heartbroken, calling it a betrayal not just to the team, but to the fan base that embraced him from day one. But in the NFL, loyalty rarely lasts forever, and money, opportunity, and ego often rewrite the story. The Commanders, under new ownership and a revamped management team, have been making bold moves to reinvent their identity. Bringing in Riq Woolen fits that narrative perfectly. They've already been revamping their defensive schemes, focusing on speed, adaptability, and positional versatility, traits that Woolen embodies. Standing at 6 feet 4 inches with elite athleticism, he brings a presence that could instantly transform the Commanders' defensive backfield. Rumor has it that Washington offered him not just a lucrative contract, but also a leadership role, something Seattle reportedly hesitated to give so early in his career. Imagine that, Woolen, the captain of a defense built around his energy and swagger, leading a young and hungry squad trying to prove themselves in a tough NFC East division. From a football standpoint, it makes sense. From an emotional standpoint, though, Seahawks fans are in disbelief. They're flooding online forums, demanding explanations, questioning the front office, and even speculating about deeper locker room issues. The betrayal narrative is spreading like wildfire, and unless Seattle makes a major countermove soon, the backlash could grow even louder. There's also a human side to this story that can't be ignored. Riq Woolen was drafted as a project, a raw athlete with elite traits who blossomed into a star through Seattle's system. Fans watched his rise, celebrated his interceptions, and saw him evolve from a fifth-round pick to a Pro Bowl-caliber player. That kind of journey builds connection, and that's why this rumor cuts so deep. People feel like they invested in him emotionally, only to see him walk away when things got tough. Some say he wanted out because of a lack of recognition from the coaching staff. Others believe it was purely about money. But the whispers suggest something more personal, a feeling of being undervalued, of not being seen as a cornerstone despite his breakout performances. Meanwhile, in Washington, the excitement is palpable. The Commanders' fanbase is calling this the steal of the decade, believing Woolen's addition could finally give them the shutdown corner they've lacked for years. If this move goes through, it won't just be a transaction. It'll be a cultural moment for both franchises. What's fascinating is how fast this story has escalated. Just a few days ago, Woolen was posting pictures in Seahawks gear, attending charity events in Seattle, smiling with fans. No one suspected a thing. Then, one cryptic tweet, "Sometimes you've got to choose peace over loyalty," and boom, social media exploded. Within hours, insiders were reporting major turbulence in Seattle's defensive room. The Commanders' beat reporters began hinting at a mystery trade target. By morning, the puzzle pieces had aligned. If this trade becomes official, it will mark not just a roster change, but a symbolic shift in NFC power dynamics. Seattle loses one of its brightest stars, while Washington gains a cornerstone for its defensive rebuild. And for Riq Woolen, it's a new chapter, one filled with opportunity, but also with the weight of expectations. Fans will watch closely to see whether he thrives under the Commanders' system or if he ends up regretting leaving the team that gave him his first shot at greatness. Now let's talk about what this really means for both sides. The emotional fallout, the strategic reshaping, and the lingering question of loyalty in the modern NFL. Seattle's fanbase is taking this one hard, and who can blame them? They've watched star after star leave in recent years, and this feels like yet another gut punch. The phrase Legion of Boom 2.0 was supposed to symbolize rebirth, a return to the defensive dominance that made Seattle a powerhouse. But instead of continuity, they're facing yet another reset. Players like Riq Woolen aren't supposed to leave this early in their journey, especially when they're on the verge of superstardom. Some analysts are even suggesting this move exposes deeper cracks in Seattle's front office, a growing disconnect between players and management. Meanwhile, Washington is capitalizing on exactly that. They're not just adding a player. They're sending a message to the league. The Commanders are done being overlooked. They're building something, piece by piece, and Riq Woolen might just be the face of their defensive renaissance. In Washington, the excitement is reaching fever pitch. Fans are already photoshopping Woolen into Commanders jerseys, and local media is calling this move the dawn of a new defensive era. Imagine pairing Woolen with the Commanders' young pass rushers, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, and company. If they can keep that core intact, it's a recipe for chaos for opposing offenses. But what's perhaps most intriguing is how seamlessly Woolen fits their style. The Commanders' defensive coordinator has long favored an aggressive, man-coverage-heavy scheme that allows corners to use their athleticism and instincts freely. That's precisely the system Woolen has been craving, according to people close to him. This could be a match made in football heaven. Yet, behind the excitement, there's also pressure. The NFC East is brutal, and every mistake gets magnified under the bright lights of DC. If Woolen struggles early, the same fans cheering his arrival might quickly turn critical. It's the duality of fame. One day you're the savior, the next, the scapegoat. Back in Seattle, reactions within the locker room have reportedly been mixed. Some players are disappointed, others understanding. Riq Woolen wasn't just a teammate. He was seen as a symbol of the new era, a homegrown star in a post-Russell Wilson world. Losing him could impact team morale and chemistry, especially among younger players who looked up to him. One unnamed veteran supposedly said, "It feels like losing a brother to a rival family." That kind of statement shows how personal this move feels. And while some might argue it's just business, in the NFL, where players grind together for months on end, loyalty still holds emotional weight. The front office, on the other hand, is trying to spin this as a strategic move, emphasizing future draft capital or cap flexibility if a trade is indeed in the works. But let's be real. No pick can replace what Woolen brought in terms of energy, swagger, and connection with fans. The Seahawks may rebuild again, but this loss will sting for a long time. From Woolen's perspective, though, this could be the fresh start he needs. Every great player eventually reaches a crossroads, and maybe this was his moment. Seattle gave him the platform, yes, but Washington might give him the spotlight. He's entering a team hungry to prove itself, and that hunger can be contagious. The Commanders have been quietly assembling a roster with potential, and now, adding a dynamic corner like Woolen could elevate them to playoff contention faster than people expect. Plus, let's not forget, the NFC East has some elite receivers: CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin in practice every day. Iron sharpens iron, and Woolen will be tested weekly in ways that could unlock the very best version of himself. For him, this isn't just a move, it's a statement. A declaration that he's ready to step out of the shadow of the Seahawks' legacy and build his own. That mindset, combined with Washington's ambition, could make this one of the most explosive storylines of the upcoming season. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. What's wild is how fans online are already creating narratives around this. Seahawks supporters are labeling him a traitor, while Commanders fans are calling him the chosen one. The contrast is incredible. In one city, he's the villain. In another, he's the hero. But that's the beauty and chaos of sports. How quickly the narrative flips depending on your colors. Woolen himself has remained silent since the rumors broke, which only fuels speculation. Some insiders say he's waiting for the ink to dry before making any public comments. Others believe he's deliberately staying quiet to avoid burning bridges in Seattle. Either way, his next words will carry weight. How he handles this transition could shape how fans perceive him for years to come. And if he starts locking down receivers and changing games in Washington, all the noise will fade. Success, after all, is the best way to silence critics. In the end, this entire saga feels like a reminder of what the NFL truly is: a business built on emotions, loyalty, and timing. Riq Woolen leaving Seattle for Washington is more than just a roster move. It's a shift in the NFC narrative. It's about identity, ambition, and the cost of growth. For the Seahawks, it's a moment of reflection. For the Commanders, it's a statement of intent. And for fans across the league, it's pure drama, the kind of story that fuels debates, talk shows, and highlight reels for weeks. Whether this deal goes down as a masterstroke or a misstep remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure: the NFC just got a lot more interesting. Betrayal or rebirth? Villain or visionary? Time will tell. But right now, one thing echoes across every sports feed in America. Riq Woolen to the Commanders isn't just a rumor. It's a revolution in motion. As the NFL moves closer to the start of the new season, the Jerry Jones, Josh Harris feud is shaping into one of the most intriguing storylines in recent years. Fans are eagerly anticipating every interaction, from interviews to social media posts, and the impact of this exchange has extended beyond traditional sports coverage into cultural conversation. The Commanders, riding the momentum of Harris's assertive positioning, are increasingly seen as a team capable of challenging long-held assumptions about the NFC East hierarchy. Cowboys supporters are defending their franchise with equal fervor, creating a polarized, highly charged narrative. Media coverage has framed this not as a minor off-season spat, but as a clash of ideologies, leadership styles, and organizational philosophies. Every game between these teams will now carry layers of context that transcend standard competition, as players, coaches, and owners are all influenced by the psychological and media-driven stakes. The anticipation for the first matchups of the season has reached fever pitch, with fans speculating on who will gain the upper hand in what promises to be an emotionally charged, story-rich contest. In effect, this feud has transformed the offseason itself into a narrative battlefield, making the journey to kickoff just as compelling as the games themselves. The NFL universe is watching, and the Cowboys-Commanders rivalry has never felt more immediate, dramatic, or consequential, promising a season filled with tension, strategy, and unforgettable storylines. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.